Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Kristi Johnson. I'm the Comprehensive Arts Planning Program Specialist here at the Purpose Center. And we're here to talk about the Comprehensive Arts Planning Program. Um, as we are getting ready, make sure to just do what you need to do in virtual space. If your camera needs to be off, that's fine. If it can be on, great too. Um, And again, in a minute, Tony will kind of pop in different documents into the chat to make it easy to look at those documents too. Um, so let's get started. In our information session here, we will go over program overview and program structure. I'll talk about the program support that we provide at Purpose for the Comprehensive Arts Planning Program. I'll talk about some local district initiatives, program benefits, program requirements and timeline, and frequently asked questions as well. And since we're a largish group, I'm just going to ask, I have about 25 minutes of slides. And so I'm going to ask that we hold questions until after I'm done with the slides, and hopefully I'll get some of those questions answered as well. What is the Comprehensive Arts Planning Program, or what we often refer to as CAP? CAP is a strategic planning program for selected school districts in the state of Minnesota. As a side note, all charter schools in Minnesota are considered their own school district. So each charter, no matter if it's K-8 or 6-12, is eligible for CAP. The selected school districts form a cohort for a 2-year cycle of programming. This upcoming cohort is going to be our 2025-2027, and that'll be our 20th cohort. To date, this program has served 207 school districts. Since this program rebooted in 2018, we have added 3 2-year cohorts. 2019 to 21, 21 to 23, 23 to 25 of 8 different selected districts. So that's 24 school districts that we've served in this program since our reboot in 2018. The intent of this program is to support and assist a local school district's arts planning team in creating a district-wide K-12 3-year strategic arts plan. District-wide means that this program does not just serve 1 or 2 schools within a district, but all schools within the district, looking at a particular art form or art forms. Also, we ask that applications are looking at kindergarten through 12th grade, or some districts have pre-K programming, so they include that as well. So pre-K to 12th grade. These arts plans address arts education policies, arts programming projects, and partnerships for schools in these selected school districts. What is a strategic planning program focused on arts education? What does that look like? What are the beginning steps? Um, we ask that you form a team of people, a CAP team, an arts team, who are interested in investigating the arts within your school district. And what do we mean by the arts? We are specifically looking at the 5 arts areas identified by the state: dance, media, music, theater, and visual arts. Um, After you've selected that team and after you've become part of the program, we look at your district's needs through a program analysis and a needs assessment focused on 7 different elements of a comprehensive arts education. Those elements or components are standards-based arts curriculum, assessment, and instruction. We look through an equity, diversity, access, and inclusion lens. We're looking at professional development and what might be offered and how that could be supplemented within your school district. We're looking at arts education facilities, equipment, supplies, and materials. We're thinking about arts partnerships with artists, art organizations, and after-school programming. Looking at funding and advocacy as well, and then your local committee and district arts planning and policy. And so those are the 7 different components that we look through to do a needs assessment of your programming. We also, in the program, look at your district's core values and beliefs around arts education. Look at your district's strategic plan and how that strategic plan complements and connects with your emerging arts plan, and then look at the current requirements for courses and credits. So, with all of that in mind, we start to take a bit of time dreaming and envisioning of what could be possible in creating a vision for the first year, the second year, and the third year of programming. I'd also like to emphasize that this is a district-led program that local school district stakeholders work together to identify goals and action steps. So you get to decide what you want to focus on and what's important to your school district. CAPP utilizes a participatory dynamic model to identify a practical vision for arts programming in each school district. The strategic planning model we use is called the Technology of Participation, created by the Institute of Cultural Affairs. This process was designed by the Institute of Cultural Affairs in the early 2000s. Their core approach or core values of the approach are thinking comprehensively, pulling in as much information and as much diverse information and perspectives as possible. Thinking about intentionality, creating clear intentions to develop consensus in your CAPP team, and thinking future orientation, thinking about results, outcomes, action steps, and focused on making sure that that action is viable, doable, and achievable. This model emphasizes inclusive participation, so making sure all voices are heard, teamwork and collaboration, individual and group creativity, and fostering action and ownership of your plan. So why do strategic planning in the first place? We believe that it provokes inspiration, intentionality, and forward thinking. This program gives districts time to step back and consider their needs and plan for the future. We're able to look at the big picture. And as one co-chair said to me, CAP has allowed me to organize all those whirling, swirling plates in my head that I have every day going on and organize a plan to address them. Strategic plan offers structure and process for creating and sustaining an arts team. This engages a variety of stakeholders and creates a community vision of what you would like to do moving forward in a particular arts area. This also helps identify needs in facilities and curriculum, community partnerships, staff development, and advocacy. And most importantly, we create specific and measurable goals and action steps that allow districts to achieve their goals. So let's talk a little bit about program structure. In the first year of the program, and this is a 2-year program, year 1 would be 2025, 2026. You will form a CAP committee of at least two co-chairs, and we advocate for a district administrator to be part of your CAP team and other district members and stakeholders, and many different districts have done it a little differently. There's most often art specialists involved, of course, but administrators, sometimes principals, sometimes different groups, teams have had a school board member on them. Um, Other groups have had a strong student voice and have had students as part of their CAP team, or parents, or have had a smaller core group and then did some surveys around those stakeholders, and getting their opinions as well. Um, the work of the committee for that first year is the program analysis and needs assessment, which we talked about a little bit, and then establishing that practical vision, something that's doable and achievable, developing that 3-year plan, and then engaging in thinking through with district administrators, your superintendent, what that plan is and how that plan can be interacted. Ultimately, it is either presented to your school board for adoption, and or to a superintendent. And sometimes superintendents have been the one to kind of shepherd that to the school board. Different districts have done that a little differently at times. So that's something, if you have more questions about that, we could talk about that at the end as well. Again, in that first year, we've got a kickoff at Purpose. We have a full day workshop in February and a virtual workshop. Also, what happens is I come out and do a strategic planning workshop with your committee, a day-long workshop, where we really get into the nitty-gritty of the plan and do a little dreaming and start planning. So I am coming out and providing those. Being really your strategic planning facilitator. And then there are regular check-ins, phone, virtual, in-person, Zoom, during that first year as well. Second year of support, you're now working through an annual plan. So we're looking at the first year of your strategic plan. And sometimes that's a little confusing. There are 2 years of this program. The second year is the first year of your strategic plan. You'll have a year 2 and a year 3. And we offer formal support until until the spring of 2027. And then your committee continues for the next 2 years. And then if you want to, you can apply again after you've had a 2-year time gap. But in that second year, we're looking at just specifically what's going to happen in that year. We're working on implementation of those activities, doing evaluation of those activities, and then by the end of the school year, thinking about your next year and doing another cycle of planning as well. Again, this program support is similar in that second year. We have a full day workshop at Purpose. We do a virtual workshop, another full day workshop in May of your second year. Again, I come out to your school district and we do a 3 to 4 hour workshop where we're specifically looking at what are we going to do this school year and how's that going to get implemented, really the nitty-gritty of the who, what, when, where, and how, and then regular check-ins as well, again, with CAP co-chairs. So I have a few different slides here focusing on different plans from committees. So I'd like to share some of those with you. This first slide that you're seeing is from from Burnsville Egan Savage. This is one of their strategic directions, or basically overall goals. And they were looking at many different action steps. They were specifically wanted to focus on in their first year supporting their programs, looking at content-specific PD, making sure that they were in compliance with state statute. Number two that you see there. They were specifically looking at number five, in their first year of implementation, creating articulation of college career exploration and readiness in the arts and what that looked like. So this gives you just another example, along with the Brooklyn Center example that I've given you as well. The next slide will show you another example of this Burnsville Egan Savage plan. So their overall third direction was thinking about expanding fine arts opportunities. So they were looking at how can we increase community connections. So let's look at artist in residencies, experiences, field trips. What else can we seek out in the community? Their second focus area was thinking about arts enrichment beyond the core curriculum and with an intentional focus on diverse cultures, and what that might look like after school or in summer camps. And then their third was thinking intentional connections between elementary, middle school, and high school. So for example, they were thinking, okay, we have a play coming up at the high school. How can we make sure that all of our elementary and middle school students are getting up to the high school to see that play? And how can we make connections between elementary, middle school, and high school? They were also, I believe, having high school visual arts students go down and mentor elementary students. So really thinking across the district, what are those connections between elementary, middle school, and high school students? This next example is from a current CAPP district. This is Yellow Medicine East, and they had a bit of a different focus that they were looking at. Yellow Medicine East focus it was they're located adjacent to the Upper Sioux community, a well-known fact in their small community. There's also a noticeable absence of appreciation for that vibrant art and culture of the Dakota people, despite 20% of our student body being of American Indian descent. This strategic plan is designed to bridge these gaps by implementing a robust arts education that embraces diversity, inclusivity, and cultural appreciation. We aim to create an educational environment where every student is valued and their cultural heritage is respected and integrated into learning. This strategic plan demonstrates our commitment to nurturing a sense of belonging, pride, and mutual understanding. So one of the ways in which they were doing that was elevating and empowering their youth. So they were doing that through student-led showcases, multicultural arts festivals, and a cultural art installation. And that's what you see here on this slide as well. They have formed an arts and cultural committee specific to focusing on Dakota arts and culture. They've also taken a trip recently to the Walker Arts Center to see Angela Two Stars commission for the Minneapolis Sculpture Garden. And I believe they also went to Bruce Vento Nature Sanctuary as well. I think they also said they're going to be able to bring in Marlena Miles. This was involving and incorporating Dakota art and cultural themes into existing curriculum and providing those opportunities for students, establishing a mentorship program with local Dakota artists, and organizing those cultural events and celebrations. So just another example of what a district of CAPP was working on. And I have another little interview that I would like to show you as well. I'm going to stop sharing just for a minute. And what I'm going to show you here in a second is an interview with Kristi Olson from Russell Tyler Ruthden. She is talking about their CAPP team and the beginning of their CAPP team. Give me a thumbs up if you can see that video. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sarissa. Um, Here we go.
Tyler. And so when we started looking into CAP, which would have been the spring before our big move to a new building, I think I was even like, maybe we'll just wait and do this another time. But then, Teresa and me and we just kind of, no, now is the time, because when you're doing things like this and you're planning strategically to make programs better for kids, then there's never that you got to start. You can always say there's a better time. And so I feel like the opportunity for this growth as an arts department, it couldn't have come at a better time, because we were able to collaborate more easily with each other, able to start to really think about where we want RTR to go in the arts department. So it was exciting. So we kind of jumped on board, and I think it's been a really great experience for all of us and helps us kind of guide like our thinking as far as K-12, what can we do? We have this beautiful facility. We have new performing arts center. And if we don't start really planning for things, that stuff just doesn't get used. You're not used to having it. So I think it's given us a common purpose here at RTR with these two, and then our expanded team as well that's developed over the last year. So I'm just thinking that it was the best time to do this. So CAP really came to us at a really, really perfect time.
So just a few more slides about more logistical type things. So on to the financial contract. So in your CAP application, each district can identify, and this is a little different from previous years, but can identify K-12 arts areas they wish to address in their 3-year strategic plan. So if you'd like to address just, say, media arts or just visual arts, that can happen. You can also address up to as many arts areas as you would like. The plan still must address K-12 programming within those arts areas, and the financial amount is just a little bit different, depending on how many different areas that you are selecting. If you choose to address one arts areas, that'll be $2,500 for the year. And to be clear, these aren't grant funds. It's a little different. This is actually a contract with the state. The state does view you as a vendor, and as such, they view you as a vendor. We have a contract, and there are deliverables along the way. I've built it into the program. So the pieces that you're doing, say you're making a rough draft of that initial plan, you submit it, it's a deliverable, and then you get a chunk of these funds come to your CAP committee. So again, $2,500 for one arts area, $3,500 if you decide to address two arts areas, and $4,500 if you decide to address 3 to 5 arts areas. And that'll be really clear on the application, and you will select those arts areas. Again, we still do ask that you have at least 2 co-chairs, even if you're doing one arts areas. one arts area. We know from the past that it is extremely helpful to have two co-chairs be part of this program just to make sure that you are able to support each other and the district in the work that you want to do. So, program benefits, things that people have said in the past about programming and the benefits with which they see the programming. Um, we create a workable, sustainable CAP strategic plan, and that's developed specific, again, to your community. Collaborations between district arts programming and the community are established and maintained, and we see that those grow throughout the program. Leadership for arts education is in place in the district. So this is one of the ways in which leadership for arts education can be improved and grown. And we give you plenty of support for that as well. And then really a recognition of and an advocacy for arts program by district personnel and the community. So it has increased as a result of CAP participation. And those are some of the benefits that we've seen over time. Just a couple of quotes from different co-chairs. I am extremely proud of how our team has been able to make big changes in our district systems and bring the focus back to arts learning and arts integration. And another quote from one of our evaluations. One thing that CAP really helped us do was really organize what we were doing as a district with arts specifically, because I think a lot of people were doing an idea here, an idea there, idea kind of thing. And it really allowed us to take it all together and realize how much we already did do and how much more we could do from there. So I think that it was big from the beginning. The takeaway, I think, was to realize how much we did, and we didn't quite realize that until we actually sat down and looked at the district as a whole. So thinking through a couple of requirements here, and then I'll talk a little bit about the application process, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions too. So requirements, we ask that the district is, you're creating a committee to envision, plan, and implement this 3-year plan. Now, you don't have to have this committee absolutely set in stone. By the time you apply, we do ask that you start to have those conversations with your different colleagues and people who might want to be interested. And we ask that you have really a core team of people. When some people apply, they have kind of thought through their entire team and they have 8 to 10 people, and that's great. And others have maybe 5 or 6 they know who are really interested. And people have asked in the past, what's the ideal number? I think it's really up to your school district, who kind of has the energy and passion to carry this forward. And along the way, you'll find that maybe you need to add someone, or maybe you need a liaison, or maybe you need some expertise from someone. So it's not as if you have to absolutely have that team set in stone, but you do want to start to have those conversations before you apply on February 3rd. Again, we're asking you to designate committee co-chairs for each arts area in the application. We're also asking that you have time to schedule, plan, and hold those CAP meetings throughout the year as needed. Also, you need to designate a district administrator to serve as a liaison to the CAP committee. It's important just to have that district admin piece. And you'll also be asked to provide a letter of commitment from the superintendent of the district to the CAP program. And once we open the application, there will be a sample application on the website, so that you can have an example too of what people have done in the past. On that application, there's going to be 4 different questions. 2 of those questions are about the commitment to arts education and history of arts education. And what I say about that particular question is we want to know about the district. We want to know just kind of tell us a story about your district and arts education and what has happened in the past. We also understand that there are needs and challenges, so there is a whole question devoted to that. And please know that if you are revealing needs and challenges, that isn't dissuading us. In fact, that is helping us understand what challenges you face and where we may be able to help you as well. And then lastly, there's a question about qualification and commitment of the committee. Again, we want to know that you've had conversation about this, that you're interested, and that you feel like you have the time to devote to being a CAP team and a CAP arts team. So, timelines. The application again, and because this is a contract with the state, we do have to have an application opening and an application closing, of course. So it opens on Wednesday, December 11th. I will be available until Tuesday, December 10th at 4 p.m. to answer any questions. Unfortunately, after that, I have to go radio silent since, of course, I am part of the review committee. But if you'd like to chat one-on-one, Zoom, I am available until Tuesday, December 10th at 4. Once that application opens, you can still ask questions. It just needs to go through a frequently asked question addendum, and we will publish that in by the January 24th. So if you do have additional questions, that is how we vet those questions. Then the application will be due on Monday, February 3rd, again at 4 p.m. And then award notifications will go out in early May. So just quick, I get a few frequently asked questions. Can an individual school or school within a district apply for the program? And they cannot. Unfortunately, this program is not set up this way. State statute mandates that this is a district-wide program. Can an individual arts area, for instance, K-12 music, within a district apply for the program? And the answer to that is yes. And then what can the CAP funds be used for? The CAP funds can be used for substitutes. They can be used for stipends for your committee members. They can also be used for some districts have sent art specialists to state or national conventions. So those are some of the things that they can be used for. And there is, I believe that is in the guidelines as well, what CAP funds can be used for. Generally, they cannot be used for any capital improvements or supplies or materials. So anything really tangible, that's not what they're meant to be used for. It is really meant to support the work of the committee.